Welcome back to Baldur's Gate 3 Friendship is Magic. My name is J. Randall0308, and in this series I forcibly befriend a variety of monsters and NPCs to bring them completely under my control with the power of PolyDom. Last time I fought my way out of the Goblin Camp, and then kinda sorta raided the Emerald Grove. In this session, I clean up the Underdark and return to the Grymforge to make more friends. Speaking of friends, currently my party consists of Anders, the Harpy, the Noel Flind, Gandrel, Auntie Ethel, and the Four Masks. Prior to the events of this episode, I add Buthir, the ogre from the Blighted Village. She's large, in charge, and her slam has knockback that can prone. And a Merregon Legionnaire, who has a crossbow built into its arm that can fire Arrow of Roaring Thunder once per round, as well as the Sentinel feat. I continue to depopulate the Underdark with a visit to the Spectator. To avoid an unpleasant surprise, I throw some basilisk oil. As I was saying, I throw some basilisk oil onto one of the petrified drow. My party is still surprised, but the Spectator is far enough away that it focuses on the drow rather than me. Anders gets the Spectator's attention with a water bottle to the face. My character uses Featherfall, which enables Gandrel to do some parkour to where he has line of sight. He crits twice. The Spectator on Honor Mode accumulates stacks of Paranoid Dreams when struck. Once at 5 stacks, the next time it's struck, the Spectator reacts with its Death Blossom attack, officially known as Ocular Nightmare. Conversely, when the Spectator uses its Eye Rays, it loses stacks of Paranoid Dreams. Thanks, Gandrel, for taking 2 for the team. The Mask of Regret casts Ray of Enfeeblement from a scroll, which works. I've never seen the icon before. Neat. The Spectator shows that it plays tridimensional chess when it Eye Rays Buthir in midair. She becomes immobile due to Frightened, which stops her movement on the spot and drops her straight down. Dorn drops a cloud of darkness on us, ungrateful wretch. I should have used this to maneuver more freely, but instead I have the hag cast Hold Person on Dorn, which ends his concentration. Gandrel is immobilized from the last round's application of Frightened, so he uses Misty Step to gain line of sight to the Spectator. After Ethel soaks an Eye Ray to reduce a stack of Paranoid Dreams, Gandrel lands a 42 damage crit with an Arrow of Ice. However, this leaves Gandrel at low hit points near the Spectator, so I throw a Potion of Invisibility onto him. I congratulate myself on that play. The Spectator chooses another target, the Mask of Regret, way over here. Most enemies want to break your character's concentration, and most enemies also don't want to be debuffed, so from the Spectator's point of view, this is a smart play. It hits with Wounding Ray for 17 necrotic, then Paralyzing Ray, and then auto-crits with its bite for 26 damage. I pick my jaw up from the floor. I must avenge her! Minthara goes to do that, but gets confused. Dror shrugs off a Paralyzing Ray to land a solid hit with Absolute Power, followed by a Concussive Smash. The Mask of Terror unloads a piercing shot that crits and drops the Spectator. We stand over its body, which has deflated like a super gross balloon. The next target on my list, the next friend I want to make, is the Lava Elemental. I've liked the Lava Elemental ever since I saw it on my first run. To that end, in June 2025, I arranged for the Lava Elemental to fight Grym in my very own Clash of the Titans. In those days, I didn't know about PolyDom. It was a dark time in my life. But armed with PolyDom power, I can do so much better now. I decide to spread the love and let Lae'zel assist me with the friendship process. Look at this gorgeous fellow. The first thing I do with my new fiery friend is send him into a fight club against Grym. I won't go round by round, but I'll point out a couple of interesting things. 1, it's hard for me to throw a healing potion so that it splashes onto the Lava Elemental. Fortunately, the game remembers that the healing potion came from my character. So when the Lava Elemental walks over the cloud of healing, it gets Bless and Blade Ward from my character's equipment. 2, the Lava Elemental heals itself while standing in the lava from the forge. This makes the fight a foregone conclusion. Even though my Lava Elemental repeatedly whiffs, and even though Grym hits hard, the Lava Elemental will inevitably be the last Titan standing. I pick up the Adamantine Splint Armor. Many of my friends have heavy armor proficiency, so I plan to duplicate this armor with the Invoke Duplicity exploit. I head into the Whispering Depths to confront the Phase Spider Matriarch. We sneak into position, and Gut opens with the Absolute's Will to pull a regular Phase Spider into the hole to the Underdark. There's no save against this pull effect. The Matriarch spots us while I'm trying to pickpocket some arrows of fire into Gandrel's inventory. I manage to complete my anti-theft, which allows Gandrel to burn up the web so that the Matriarch falls for 43 damage. Buthir jumps into position thanks to a previously cast Featherfall. She's still hidden, because I guess the creature with multiple eyes and see invisibility doesn't notice when a 500 kilogram ogre lands nearby. The Lava Elemental also jumps and lands just at the edge of the pit. As I maneuver, I misclick. Featherfall prevents a lethal landing. That spell is both a necessity and amazing for this PolyDom run. Drawer Ragslan takes no chances and Misty Steps to get into position. He uses Absolute Power twice on the Phase Spider Matriarch. The second time, she fails her save against it and is blasted into the pit, but I'm using the Honor Mode rules, so she teleports out. There aren't enough giant friends here, so I sound Lump's Warhorn to bring 3 more ogres into the fight. I've poured damage into the Phase Spider Matriarch, who dies ignominiously to a pair of 3-point arrow shots from the Merregon. Drawer cleans up the spiderlings, and I use the Friends spell to convince Lump that I will gladly pay him Tuesday for the dead bodies he eats today. I return to the Grymforge area, where I've heard a lot about this true soul Nere, who is trapped behind some rubble. A smoke powder bomb takes care of the rocks. Nere is a jerk, which makes him fair game for forced friendship. I cast Polymorph on Nere, who becomes a sheep, but still triggers his legendary action. Psionic Sheep Visages, awesome! Fonmara uses Mind Mastery on my character. From my point of view, the Dwergar who were my enemies are now my allies, and vice versa. This could have been a huge mess if my polydomed friends became enemies, but luckily that doesn't happen. The Emerald Grove tieflings in the initiative order turn red with anger and run around in a vain attempt to reach me. Minthara intends to attack Fonmara, but I don't notice that the default action has changed from attack to help. So instead, Minthara frees Fonmara. Minthara frees Fonmara. Try saying that 3 times fast. Buthir takes a page from Build a Barbarian workshop and shows that the best spell is Throw. The Lava Elemental finally kills Fonmara, and my perspective on friends versus enemies returns to normal. Anti-Ethel uses Sinister Strike on the held Thryn, a crit for 51 damage, and follows up with an evil laugh. Karlach uses Dominate Beast on Nere, which ends the combat and starts the conversation with Elder Brithvar. As usual, when I take the time for conversation, Polymorph and Dominate Beast expire in real time. Apparently, Brithvar and his men have had enough of my silver tongue because they become hostile. Priestess Gut uses the Absolute's Will to pull the aptly named Thud into the lava. He takes 34 fire damage, then 41 more when he starts his turn, surviving with 5 hit points. Kerr shoots Gut and blasts her into the lava. I suppose turnabout is fair play for what she did to Thud. I throw a potion onto Gut that heals her up to 33 hit points. Melting is a scary 10d6 damage, which is an average of 35, but I gave Gut an elixir of fire resistance, so she should survive. When Gut starts her turn, she doesn't take any damage from melting? That's weird. She jumps out of the lava, and then Anders ends the fight. Again. I befriend Nere and check him out. Like many NPCs, Nere has ridiculously excellent ability scores. As an NPC drow, he has sunlight sensitivity, which does prove to be an annoying downside going forward. He only has 1 first level and 1 second level spell slot, not nearly enough to power all of his available spells. Mage Armor, Dissonant Whispers, Mind Spike, and Shield of Screams at first level, Misty Step, and Wicked Coercion at second level. Wicked Coercion is coded as a cantrip that also takes a second level slot. I noticed that Nere cannot use any of his weapon actions. That's because in martial weapons he is only proficient with longswords, not rapiers. That's right, Nere isn't proficient with his signature weapon, the Sword of Screams. On the plus side, he retains his Psionic Visage legendary action. There's nothing left to do in the first part of Act 1, so I journey through the mountain pass from the Goblin Camp. Minthara reacts as though I slaughtered the Emerald Grove, and promises me a night to remember.
And you can see what I want.
Through her eyes you see yourself, skin glistening with sweat, hands bound. Ecstasy.
Although when I go to sleep, I do not receive a certain infamous cutscene. I waypoint back to the Emerald Grove, get some quest updates, and find a lot of dead tieflings and druids. This shuts off certain quest lines and is bad news for Karlark. The perils of PolyDom. Ah well, the game continues. Next time, the Rosymorn Monastery and the Githyanki Kresh. I hope you're enjoying Baldur's Gate 3 Friendship is Magic. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching.